Hello and welcome to Relatively Crafty, a knitting podcast. I am your host, Cristi. I come to you from the Denver area of Colorado, where I live with my husband, Ron, and our two kids, Tatum, who is 13, and Delaney, who is 10, along with our feline friend, Lilu, our tuxedo cat, who is a cat. I apologize ahead of time if I am a little rough today. If you follow me on Instagram, then you have learned that there has been a stomach bug that has gone through my family pretty harshly. Delaney was the first one to get sick, which is how it always happens, and I am, of course, the nursemaid whenever the kids get sick, especially Delaney. She needs lots of cuddles and just touching and breathing and that kind of thing, and I had to clean up lots of messes, and so I got sick on Monday night. I spent all day yesterday in bed. I didn't get out of bed until 5 p.m. And then about 7 or 8 o'clock, Tatum got sick. And so we are all home today. Ron stayed home yesterday so that he could take care of me and Delaney, and then he went to work today. And I have kept the girls home another day so that they could fully recuperate. And so today is about getting everybody cleaned and cleaning up all the linens and just kind of germifying the house. And I am sore, like the muscles in my back and my chest and my stomach are sore from just being so violently sick. I haven't been that sick in a very long time. Anyway, this is probably going to be a shorter and more mellow podcast, just simply because I still feel pretty weak and tired. But I didn't want to miss the opportunity to podcast, so let's go ahead and continue on. If you are looking for me on Ravelry, you can find me as Cristi-Lael and on Instagram as Cristi-Lael without the dash. And of course, I will put those spellings in the show notes down below. I spell my name differently than the normal Christies, and so and then my middle name Lael is quite a strange name in its own right. So anyway, I'll put that down there, and then we have a Relatively Crafty Podcast group on Ravelry where we have knit-alongs and giveaways and chatter, and we are having our wonderful winter warm-up KAL going on right now, which will be going until March 19th, which is the last day of winter, or March 18th, whatever the last day of winter is. And with that, you just basically are encouraged to knit or finish a blanket of any weight, one that you started years ago or one that you want to start now. And I've seen actually quite a lot of blankets in there, which is awesome. Awesome, lots of blankets. Some people who knit more than one blanket during the KAL, which is crazy in my opinion. I mean, totally kudos. I think it's awesomely crazy, I should say. Awesomely crazy. And then if blankets aren't your bag, then you can knit anything, any pattern, any type of yarn, any knitting or crocheting, any project, as long as it is in worsted weight or above. So worsted, bulky, chunky, super bulky, that kind of thing. Aran, I do have a couple of prizes for that in my stash here, stuff that I have purchased. But if you have a hankering to donate a prize, please feel free to contact me on Ravelry. I will always accept those kind of donations. I like to be able to share other makers' goodies as prizes for giveaways and KALs. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into FOs. I don't have a lot to show you this week, guys. I've been pretty monogamous on a single project, and so there's not a lot on the needles, and I only finished a single pair of socks, and I only finished them about 10 minutes ago. they're not even, the ends haven't even been woven in, so that kind of gives you an idea of how truly finished they are, but I'm counting them as done. So anyway, here they are. This is my first pair of socks for the Box of Socks KAL, which is hosted by Kristen of the Yarngasm podcast, who dyes Wollonvine yarns. And I am knitting my box of socks this year. This is the second year I've done it. This year I'm knitting them completely out of Knitterly Things Vesper sock. This colorway is an old colorway from a yarn club from like 2008. The colorway is Lovely Lollipop Sky, and I absolutely love how these socks turned out. I'm so glad that I finally got this skein knitted up. And as you can see, I did not weave in the ends, and so the heel's going to be a little bit loose too as well, because I haven't woven in the ends on the inside. But the socks are, the knitting is all done, so I'm counting them. I used my regular stripy recipe with a Turkish cast-on toe-up. I did a true afterthought heel, and then knit the leg as long as the foot, so if you fold them in half, they are the same length. I did 1x1 ribbing, and then bound off with Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off, and yeah, that's it. It's a really, really lovely colorway, and I just really like the way they look. I'm really glad that I'm feeling good about kind of knitting up these older skeins. Just, having stuff just sit in my stash for too long, I feel bad that I haven't used it. And so last year with my box of socks, I was able to knit up a bunch of my old stripies, and I'm finishing up the rest of those older stripies with this year's box of socks and one of my entries into my Crafty Bingo, which is being hosted by Erin of Bling Your String. I only had 3 other skeins besides the stuff that I had in Vesper sock that was older than 2016, and so I will be knitting that up this year as well, and all of my yarn will be, less than 2 years old, or less than 3 years old, I should say. So yeah, all of my sock yarn. Let me clarify that right there, because I've got lots of sweater yarn that is still older. Although I am trying to knit up some of that as well this year, so hopefully I will accomplish some of that. I like doing that whole deep stash thing. And yeah, that's the only thing that I finished this week. So I guess we'll go ahead and get into whips. I think I put a row or 2 on here. I was focusing on those other socks. Actually, I was focusing on my sweater, but now that my now that my Knitterly Things Vesper socks are done, I will be focusing on these. This is out of Woolly Dogs and Rainy Dogs and Woolly. What is it? Just totally lost my. Rainy Days and Woolly Dogs. And the colorway is Suppa Green, S-U-P-P-A, and so hopefully I'll be able to get these progressed for you guys next week. Every time I laugh, my muscles in my back hurt. I'm so beat up, guys. Okay, this next one is still a whip, although it's close to being an FO, and I can't really take a lot of credit for it, because I didn't knit more than just 6 or 7 rows on it. But I was going through, I've been trying to kind of clean up. It's the new year, and you want to kind of reorganize and get rid of things, and so I've been kind of going through and culling my possessions. So a couple of weeks ago I went through my closet and pulled out a bunch of things. I've been going through the kids' closet. I've been just kind of, cleaning things out and deciding what I really need. And that included going through some of my stash. I've reorganized. I haven't really gotten rid of any yarn, but I've kind of, decided what I wanted to destash. I've put that on my trade sale page on Ravelry. There's not a lot, but some. And then some that I had in there, I've decided, actually, I would like to knit a sweater out of that, so I put it back into my stash. But I found this skirt that a friend of mine gave to me, oh gosh, years ago. She knit most of it for her granddaughter. It's like 4 or 5 years ago, and she didn't want to finish it, and so she asked if I would like it for Tatum at the time. But I think now it's going to fit Delaney, and it was mostly done. It needs elastic. It's knit out of classic cotton, I believe it is. And it needs the elastic band put in. I just need to go to like Joann's and get the elastic. But she started it with this multicolored. It's black and orange and black and yellow and pink and blue. And so she did that, and then did the yellow stripe, and then the pinky purple stripe, and then that's all I did was the finishing of the blue. She had the first row or two of the blue done, and I ended up doing a garter stitch border and binding off. So all I need to do basically is weave in the ends and put in the elastic, as I said, and Delaney will be able to wear this. I don't know what pattern she used. Yeah, I don't know, but I think it'll be cute on Delaney. She can wear it over leggings, and yeah, so it's something that was sitting in a bag for the longest time, and I'm glad that I'm finally making progress to finishing it. So hopefully you should be able to see that next week all done. Maybe even get a picture of Delaney wearing it. But the main reason why I haven't gotten a lot done this week is because I have been so monogamous on my Comfort Fade Cardi. I have loved knitting this sweater, guys. It has been so much fun. I know that part of it is the pattern, but honestly, I really think that a lot of it has to do with the fact that I love the yarn so much. The colorways are perfect, the bases are perfect. Carrie at Creative Obsession, her plump DK base is so pleasant to knit with. The other two are very pleasant to knit with as well. The Madeline Tosh Long Rider DK, and then the Hello Swoonish in her Walker DK. Those are also very pleasant as well, but I'm really enjoying knitting with Carrie's yarn. I've only knit Carrie's sock yarn before, so I've been just enjoying this heavier weight. So anyway, I had the body done last week, and I went ahead and I knit one sleeve, and I think I kind of goofed up on some of the, you're supposed to carry the yarn on the outside when you're doing your fading, and I didn't do that very well. A couple of spots you can kind of see it, because I was knitting, it's reverse stockinette, of course, and I was knitting it because I'm not going to purl all of the sleeves, because that would be ridiculous. I went ahead and knit the sleeves inside out and knit on the knit side, the just regular stockinette side. And so in order to make it so that when you put the sleeve the right way, inside out, reverse stockinette side, you needed to carry the yarn on the outside on the way up instead of on the inside. Does that make sense? Anyway, I didn't do it very well in a couple of spots, but yeah, you can see I started the sleeve on the Come Together out of the Creative Obsession, and then faded that into the Lisa Frank Bender in the Walker DK, and faded that into the Fire in the Sky by Creative Obsession, and I absolutely love that it pooled in the Fire in the Sky on the sleeve. I love that. And then here, the cuff is done in garter stitch. So it tells you to go down a needle. The whole sweater I knit on a US 6, and you're supposed to go down a needle to a US 5 for the cuff, but because I purl so much looser, And because I didn't want to fiddle with trying to do like the short row garter stitching, I ended up having to re-knit the cuff, the first cuff, a second time because it just came out too loose. So I did it on a size 3. I went down quite a few needles and did it on a size 3, and it's perfect. So I really love the fact that she finishes out the sleeve on the first. She reverses that fade for the cuff of the sleeve. I absolutely love that. So I finished the first sleeve, and then I finished the second sleeve, and I got some really good pooling of the fire in the sky as well. I just absolutely love that look. And I've even woven in the ends on these sleeves, so they are, I haven't trimmed them really short, but they're all woven in, and I wove in the ends on the rest of the body as well. And I have picked up for the button band. I know it doesn't look like much. I've got it on my longest needle, hoping that it wouldn't munch up the sweater too much. I did do an error, a second error. It says to pick up the stitches for the button band with the right side facing, and so I immediately had the stockinette side facing me and picked up all the stitches and knit a couple of rows on the button band, and I realized that because this is reverse stockinette, the right side is actually the normal wrong side, the reverse stockinette side, and so I picked up on the wrong side. So you can see that, that ridge that you get normally on the inside of the sweater where you pick up, but I am not going to take it out because it's too much to pick up. I don't like picking up stitches. It's one of my least favorite knitting chores, and I've already knit. It may not look like a lot, but I've already done one of the short row sections. You can see there, that's all the collar, and so I do not want to tear it out and have to go again. So I am just leaving it the way it is. I don't think it looks that bad. It's got an extra ridge. I'm not worried about it. So anyway, as I said, I have done the first section of short rows for the collar. In order to incorporate the fade and have the big collar, you kind of do your short rows in sections, which, I don't think I'm giving anything away because that's kind of obvious. So now I am starting to fade in. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm starting to fade in my second color. So I had hoped to get this further along. In fact, I was kind of hoping that maybe I'd even have it finished for today along with those socks. But with yesterday being sick, I hardly knit anything. I didn't touch this at all, and so, But I should definitely have it done by next week. I'm excited about it. The sleeves are slightly snug, but I am sure that blocking will help with that, and I also know that even with blocking, this will probably end up being a cardigan that I will wear over like a tank top or a capped sleeve blouse. I won't be wearing this over long sleeves, but that is totally fine because I said so. Anyway. So there is my Comfort Fade Cardi, which is by Andrea Mowry. By the way, I forgot to say that. Okay, and that is all of my whips. I do want to take, gosh, I'm almost done, guys. I'm sorry. This is really going to be short. I wanted to let you know the socks that I am planning on knitting for my my February box of socks. That is this unbelievably gorgeous skein, which again is Knitterly Things Vesper sock. This is Lightning in a Bottle, and this is actually one of my newer colorways that I purchased from her, I don't know, maybe in the summer of last year, late summer, early fall. And the reason why I picked this and not one of my older skeins is because a lot of the ones that I have in there are, well, if they're older, they've kind of got like they match to a holiday. Like I've got a very obvious Halloween colorway that I've had in my stash for 3 or 4 years, but it's Halloween colorway, so I want to knit it closer to October. And then I have a lot of my Rainbow of the Month club from last year in there as well, and I want to kind of knit those with the months that they came out. So I'd already knit January's, I knit that last year, and then February's I have 2 skeins of. I ordered an extra skein I'm going to make something for Delaney out of. So the next one that I have in there for the Rainbow of the Month is March. So next month you'll see my first Rainbow of the Month skein that I'm going to knit up this year. Does that make sense? I feel a little bit rambly. Anyway, Lightning in a Bottle, gorgeous. I think it is 5 or 6 colors. There's a beautiful like plummy purple, a like indigo purple, teal, a navy blue, oh gosh, a pink, a chartreuse. There's lots in there. So I'm really excited to knit this up. I think it's going to make some absolutely beautiful socks. And I do plan on knitting a sweater after I finish my Comfort Fade Cardi. As I said, I really want to knit a bunch of sweaters right now, although I haven't decided which one I'm going to knit. I do want to kind of go off of my bingo card and get some of those taken care of. The Comfort Fade Cardi is one of my bingo squares, by the way, so I'll be able to mark one off when I do that, which will be good. So I may pick another one that's on one of those ones that I've had I've had project pages written up for like 2 or 3 years. You know, like the Athena sweater or the Snowflake sweater or the Boss sweater, one of those that I haven't decided yet. I'm still trying to remind myself that I do not need to knit the brand new Colorwork sweater colorways that I just purchased a couple of weeks ago from my local yarn shop. That I need to knit the older stuff first, but we'll see how it goes. Oh, and I wanted to say you will not be seeing my Beekeeper's quilt as a whip anymore. One of my yarny friends has been so awesome and has offered to finish it out for me in trade, and so I will be sending her something to trade so that she will crochet up the pieces and put a little border on it and have it finished for me. And so Barbara, thank you so much for doing that. You're super duper awesome in my book, and I will send that out to you as soon as I make sure that there are no more germs in my house. I don't want to send any germs. So when you guys see that next, it will be a finished piece back from Barbara, and I'm glad to not have to worry about that anymore. It was something I was dreading. So yarn haul is next. I have no yarn to haul, none whatsoever. I didn't purchase any yarn this week, or I didn't get any in the mail. I didn't go to Knit Night last night, obviously, because I was dying. But I did get this book. I had mentioned to you that I was going to be that I had purchased this book and I was waiting for it to come. This is Metropolitan Knits, Chic Designs for Urban Style by Melissa Worley. And the reason why I picked this is I want to knit the Washington Square cardigan, which I had talked to you guys about last week. It was one that I had seen on the Flame and Fiber podcast, and I just loved hers. Barbara's was beautiful. Here is a picture of that sweater. This is what I ripped out my shade of blue, a splash of blue cardigan, and I'm going to repurpose the yarn, the Cascade Eco, into this sweater, but I am going to try my hand at dyeing it before I knit with it, which is going to be interesting. And you know, I'm normally not a knitting pattern book buyer. I don't buy them very often because I I don't want to spend $15 on a knitting book when I only want to make one pattern. And I have so many other collections that I really don't need to collect knitting books. I love knitting pattern books, but I love to look through them and that kind of thing. But yeah, I try to limit my purchase of them unless there's several things in there that I want to knit. And I'm happy to say that there are several things in this pattern book that I do want to knit. I'll kind of show some of those to you right now. This one that was on the cover, this is the Mier cardigan, and I think this would be perfect to wear in the office. I am looking to have more knitwear to wear for work, which will be nice. I also really like this one. This is the Skyline tunic. It has this pretty lace detail on the side. And then the Bleecker Street cardigan is another nice one. It's got, looks like it might have a waffle stitch pattern on the sleeves, and then on the pockets, and everything else is stockinette. And I really like that slight texture, and it's a nice, comfy, cozy cardigan. I love this cabled cardigan. This is called Magnolia Cafe, and it's beautiful cables with pockets, and then you do the pockets in the inside of the pocket in a different color, so it looks really nice, and I like that a lot. And of course the Washington Square cardigan, which I've just shown you. I kind of dig this cobblestone hoodie, another really comfortable, and it's got stripes. I love stripes. This Atrium cardigan would probably be pretty for work as well, something that I could wear in the spring into the office. Oh, and I love this Sunday Henley, another one. The lace will keep me cool, but still be comfortable for the office. And then lastly, this Courtyard pullover, which has just some nice textures and looks comfy. So there's several things in this that I will be able to knit and enjoy. Okay, so that is all the knitting content. I will talk a little bit about books, but if you're just here for the knitting, then I'll see you later. All right, so I finished The Book Thief by Markus Zusak. You guys heard me talking about this last week. I was, maybe 100 pages from the end, and I was feeling like I really wanted to continue because I wanted to know what had happened because I was enjoying the story so much, but I knew it was going to be heartbreaking, and so I didn't want to continue, and I was completely correct in my assumption. It was heartbreaking, but it was so well written. This is a book set in World War II in Germany. It is narrated by death. It focuses around a 12-year-old girl named Liesel and her family and friends, and just, it's a beautiful, beautiful book. Highly, highly recommend it, especially on audio. The narrator did a fantastic job. I also watched the movie last week, and I have to say I was not as impressed with the movie, which is sad to say because it had a lot of people in it that I really like. Jeffrey Rush is one of my favorite actors, and he played one of the main characters in this, and I don't know, I don't think that they carried enough important stuff from the book into the movie, and so yeah, it was okay. It wasn't a bad movie, but I don't think that it touched me as much. I expected it to make me cry hard like Schindler's List, and it didn't. So, but that's the way it goes. Anyway, the book was amazing. Completely recommend the book. And then I've picked up The Miniaturist by Jessie Burton as my next audiobook. I have not gotten very far in this, just a couple, maybe 25 pages. This is set in 1686 in Amsterdam. An 18-year-old woman has, well, she's married. She comes from a well-to-do family, but one that has come into some hard times, and so her family fortune has kind of gone, and her mother worked to kind of marry her off to a wealthy merchant in Amsterdam. So she leaves her family at 18 to move into the house that her new husband, who she's only met once, lives in, and she finds out that she knows that he's an older man, but she finds out that he's gone a lot, that he's kind of distant, not cruel, but just distant, and his sister lives there, and she is rather stern, and she's just Nella is. She doesn't know what she's supposed to do with herself. She's supposed to be a new wife and the mistress of the house, and she's being bossed around by her sister-in-law, and her husband is never around, and she feels more like a child, and her husband brings her a gift of basically a playhouse, a miniature version of this grand house that they live in, and she takes it upon herself to have furniture built to basically make an exact replica of the house, and according to the back, that's supposed to expose secrets and make her have self-realization, that kind of thing. Again, I have only gotten like 25 pages in, so I can't say a whole lot about what really goes on, but it is interesting. I am enjoying it. I had a little bit of an issue trying to shift gears from The Book Thief. I'm trying to remember that this is quite a bit older, and it is not set in Germany, and it's not World War II. So yeah, but I am looking forward to seeing how this goes. I've heard great things about this, and I have to say it's a gorgeous book. And then a friend of mine who I used to buddy read with a lot recently contacted me and asked if we could start a new buddy read, and so we have picked up the Snow Like Ashes trilogy by Sarah Rosh. This is kind of like a dystopian fantasy. It's set in a world where there are the land of Primoria, I believe it is called. There are two main sets of kingdoms. There's the Rhythm Kingdom, kingdoms who go through all 4 seasons every year like we do, and they have little bits of magic. And then there are the Seasons kingdoms who are, summer, winter, fall, and spring, and they don't change. Their seasons don't change. The Winter Kingdom is winter all year long, and they have more magic. And the main character is Mir. I believe that's how you pronounce Mira. And she belongs to the Winter Kingdom. But years ago, spring crushed the Winter Kingdom, and the magic is contained in these ring amulets, which I guess are supposed to look like this. The winter one has been broken, which means that Winter Kingdom has no magic, and they are kind of nomads at this point. They don't even have a land that they can call their own. So the few winter refugees that were able to escape when spring attacked and weren't put into forced slavery, they are trying to find the pieces of this ring in order to regain the magic, and then hopefully they can build back up their kingdom. And so I haven't gotten very far into this either. I'm about 30 pages in. But it is interesting. I read those 30 pages last night, and I was really intrigued by it, so I think I'm going to like this a lot. And then lastly, I am in a book club that meets once a month for brunch, one Saturday a month, and I've managed to get the book that we're supposed to read. I think it's February 10th, is our breakfast. So I really need to get together and get started on this because I just picked it up from the library. This is The Couple Next Door by Sherry Lapina, and it is a thriller. And I don't know anything about it because I don't like to read synopses of thrillers. I don't want to be spoiled at all. So anyway, I will hopefully have something to say about it next week. I start it tonight. And yeah, that's it, guys. Yeah, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm going to continue de-germifying my house now. And yeah, I will talk to you guys later. Have a wonderful week and happy knitting.